Have you ever wondered why a certain toxic person just won't leave your life? No matter how much you try to avoid them, they always find a way back, hurting you, draining your energy, and making you question yourself. But what if I told you that this isn't just bad luck, this is a test from God? Yes, you heard that right. God might be using a narcissist to shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you for something greater. But here's the real question. Are you passing the test, or are you falling into their trap? You see, narcissists come into our lives for a reason. They push our buttons, challenge our patience, and force us to face our deepest fears. But instead of breaking you, this experience could be building you. If you understand the lesson, you'll come out wiser, stronger, and unstoppable. In this video, we're going to reveal 16 powerful ways God uses narcissists to test and transform you. Some of these may shock you, but by the end, you'll have clarity on why you're facing this battle and how to win it. But before we dive in, I want you to do 3 things. Hit that like button to show love and support. Join our community because you're not alone in this journey. Stay till the end. The last point will change how you see everything. Now let's get into it. Why is this narcissist really in your life? Sometimes life puts people in our path who challenge us in ways we never expected. They test our patience, drain our energy, and make us question our own worth. You may wonder why this person is in your life. Is it just bad luck? A mistake? Or something much bigger? Think about it. What if this isn't just random? What if God placed this narcissist in your life for a reason? It may not make sense right now, especially when you're feeling hurt, frustrated, or exhausted. But every challenge carries a lesson, and sometimes the hardest people in our lives are the ones who push us toward growth. A narcissist can reveal things about yourself that you might not have noticed before. They expose your weaknesses, your fears, and even your deepest wounds. Do you struggle with setting boundaries? Do you find yourself constantly trying to please others, even when it hurts you? A narcissist forces you to face these things head-on. At first, it feels unfair. Why should you be the one suffering while they continue their toxic behavior without consequences? But here's the truth. God doesn't allow pain without purpose. This situation isn't about them, it's about you. Will you let this experience break you, or will you let it make you stronger? Imagine a sword being sharpened. The process isn't gentle. It involves intense pressure and friction. But in the end, the sword becomes stronger, sharper, and ready for battle. That's what God is doing with you. Maybe this narcissist is here to teach you self-respect, emotional strength, or how to walk away from toxic people. Maybe they're here to show you what kind of love you truly deserve. Or maybe, just maybe, they are the final test before something greater enters your life. This is not just a problem, it's a divine setup. The question is, will you learn the lesson and rise, or will you let this break you? Not all battles in life come from the outside. Some of the hardest struggles happen within us, and sometimes the people we meet act as a mirror, reflecting the wounds we haven't healed yet. A narcissist has a way of poking at your deepest insecurities. They make you feel unheard, unimportant, or even worthless. They may dismiss your feelings, twist your words, or manipulate you into doubting yourself. But why does it hurt so much? Because deep inside, these wounds already existed. The narcissist didn't create them, they just exposed them. Maybe you've always struggled with feeling unworthy of love. Maybe you've been afraid to stand up for yourself. Maybe you've spent your life seeking approval from others, afraid of rejection. The narcissist shines a harsh light on these hidden pains, forcing you to face them. And here's where the real test begins. Will you keep ignoring these wounds, or will you allow God to heal them? Imagine having a broken leg but never realizing it because you've learned to walk a certain way to avoid the pain. Then one day, someone pushes you and suddenly you feel the sharp pain that was always there. That's what a narcissist does. They push on the parts of you that need healing. At first, it feels unfair. It feels like an attack. But what if this is actually a blessing in disguise? What if God is using this experience to show you where you need to grow stronger? This isn't just about surviving a narcissist. It's about transforming. It's about learning to set boundaries, to believe in your worth, to break free from emotional traps, and to walk with confidence in who God created you to be. The pain is real, but so is the opportunity to grow. The choice is yours. Will you stay stuck in the same cycle, or will you allow this experience to make you stronger than ever? Dealing with a narcissist can feel like being trapped on a never-ending emotional roller coaster. One moment, they act charming and make you feel special. The next, they tear you down, making you doubt everything. You never know what's coming next, praise or punishment, love or rejection. It's exhausting. But here's the bigger question. Are you letting this chaos steal your peace? Or are you trusting God's plan? A narcissist thrives on control. They manipulate your emotions, push your buttons, and make you react. They want you to feel unstable, powerless, and lost. And if you're not careful, you'll start questioning your own worth, your decisions, and even your faith. But this is where God is testing you. Will you let their behavior control your emotions, or will you stand firm in your faith? Imagine a storm raging all around you. The winds are strong, the waves are crashing, and fear is creeping in. But in the middle of it all, God is saying, be still. A narcissist's actions may shake you, but they don't have the power to break you unless you give them that power. They may try to destroy your confidence, but they can't take away what God has placed inside you unless you let them. So ask yourself, are you constantly reacting to their behavior, or are you staying grounded in peace? Are you feeding into their drama, or are you trusting that God is in control? This isn't just about surviving emotional ups and downs. It's about learning to remain unshaken. No matter how much they try to push you, God is your anchor. No matter how much they try to make you feel lost, your faith is your foundation. The real test isn't about changing the narcissist. It's about refusing to let them change you. Will you let them steal your peace, or will you stand firm and trust God's plan? The choice is yours. A narcissist knows exactly how to get under your skin. They push your buttons, twist your words, and do everything they can to provoke a reaction. Why? Because they feed off your emotions. The more you react, the more power they have over you. But here's the real test. Can you endure without losing yourself? Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about staying calm when everything inside you wants to explode. It's about choosing self-control when they expect you to break. This is where God is refining you. Think of gold being purified. It has to go through intense fire to remove the impurities. The heat is painful, but without it, the gold will never shine. That's what this experience is doing to you. It's teaching you how to control your emotions, how to rise above manipulation, and how to respond with wisdom instead of anger. A narcissist thrives on chaos. They want you to argue. They want you to defend yourself. They want you to react emotionally because it gives them control. But the moment you stop reacting, you take that control away. So ask yourself, do you let their words trigger you? Or do you stay grounded in your faith? Do you play their game? Or do you rise above it? True patience isn't about letting someone walk all over you. It's about learning when to engage and when to walk away. It's about realizing that not every battle is worth fighting, and sometimes silence is the strongest response. This isn't just a lesson in endurance, it's a lesson in strength. Will you let the narcissist break you, or will you use this challenge to become unshakable? The choice is yours. Not every battle is fought with swords and shields. Some are fought in the mind and spirit. When dealing with a narcissist, it's easy to see them as just a toxic person. But what if there's something deeper at play? Could this person be a tool of distraction, sent to pull you away from your divine calling? The enemy works in subtle ways. He doesn't always come as an obvious threat. Sometimes he sends people into your life who drain your energy, shake your faith, and keep you trapped in emotional turmoil. Narcissists are masters of this. They create confusion, cause self-doubt, and make you focus so much on their actions that you lose sight of your purpose. Think about it. Have you been so emotionally exhausted by this person that you've neglected your relationship with God? Have you been so focused on proving your worth to them that you've forgotten the worth God already gave you? Have they distracted you from your calling, keeping you stuck in endless battles instead of moving forward in faith? This isn't just a toxic relationship, it's spiritual warfare. The enemy knows that if he can keep you emotionally drained, he can keep you from fulfilling your purpose. But here's the truth, you are not powerless. The Bible says in Ephesians 6:12, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Now, this means the narcissist isn't just an ordinary person causing trouble. They might be a distraction used by the enemy to keep you from growing spiritually. So how do you fight back? Recognize the distraction for what it is. When you see that this isn't just about a difficult person, but a spiritual attack, you take away its power. Instead of reacting emotionally, you start responding with wisdom. Stay grounded in prayer and faith. The more time you spend with God, the less control this person has over your mind. They may try to steal your peace, but when you stay close to God, they can't succeed. Protect your energy and set boundaries. Not every battle is meant to be fought. Some distractions need to be ignored completely. If someone is constantly pulling you into drama, recognize that walking away is a form of spiritual warfare. Focus on your purpose. The best way to defeat the enemy's tactics is to stay focused on what God has called you to do. The more you pour your energy into your purpose, the less time you have for distractions. A narcissist may try to throw you off course, but they can only succeed if you let them. Will you allow them to steal your focus, or will you rise above and walk in your divine calling? The choice is yours. Life isn't always about avoiding challenges. Sometimes it's about learning how to stand firm in the face of them. One of the most difficult tests we face is when we're forced to set boundaries, especially with people who continually push us beyond our limits. Narcissists are experts at this. They want you to feel guilty for saying no, and they will stop at nothing to manipulate you into folding to their demands. But here's the question, will you stand firm or will you keep folding? Setting boundaries isn't just about saying no, it's about deciding to put yourself first. It's about protecting your peace, your mental health, and your spiritual well-being. And sometimes God allows people in your life who challenge your boundaries to see if you'll finally learn to enforce them. The narcissist in your life might test every limit you try to set. They'll guilt-trip you, manipulate your emotions, and twist your words to make you question your decisions. Every time they push past your boundaries, they're testing your resolve. Will you let them win, or will you finally stand firm? Here's the deeper truth. God uses this challenge as an opportunity for you to grow. By allowing this test, God is showing you the importance of respecting yourself. Will you honor your worth, or will you continue to let others violate your space? Think of it like this. When you're driving, you follow the road signs and lanes to stay safe. If you let someone push you out of your lane, you risk a crash. Your boundaries are those safety signs. If you let a narcissist disregard them, you end up in emotional chaos. But if you stand firm, you create a safe space where you can thrive. Here's what happens when you finally start respecting your own boundaries. You regain control over your emotional space. No more feeling drained or manipulated. You stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself. Saying no doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strong. You prove to God and yourself that you value the purpose He has for you. By standing firm, you declare that you are worthy of peace and respect. The real question is, will you keep folding, letting the narcissist take more from you, or will you finally stand firm and say, enough is enough? God is testing your ability to protect yourself and set healthy boundaries. It's a test of growth. The more you stand firm, the more you'll see God's strength working in your life. Will you pass the test? We often think that love means holding on, fighting through every difficult moment, and never giving up on the people in our lives. But sometimes love means knowing when to let go, especially when it comes to toxic relationships, such as those with narcissists. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's a powerful act of self-preservation and growth. Some people are sent into your life not to stay, but to teach you when to walk away. These individuals might bring pain, frustration, and emotional turmoil, but their purpose is deeper than just causing suffering. They show you that detachment can be one of the most freeing steps in your personal and spiritual journey. The narcissist might keep pulling you back in with promises of change or moments of affection, only to hurt you again. They are experts at creating confusion, leaving you questioning your own feelings. But this constant cycle isn't just draining, it's a distraction from your true path. This person might be in your life to teach you the powerful lesson of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you abandon someone who is struggling. It means you stop letting someone else's dysfunction control your emotional state. It's about realizing that you cannot change or fix people who aren't willing to change themselves. And when someone's actions continuously harm your well-being, the most loving thing you can do for both them and yourself is to walk away. Think of detachment as a form of spiritual self-care. Just as you would take care of your physical health, detachment is about taking care of your emotional and spiritual health. And you don't have to stay in a toxic environment to prove your love or loyalty. Walking away shows strength, wisdom, and the ability to prioritize your own peace. Here's what happens when you begin practicing detachment. You reclaim your inner peace. The chaos and drama that once consumed your thoughts no longer have power over you. You make room for healthy relationships. By letting go of what doesn't serve you, you open space for positive, uplifting connections. You honor your divine calling. By freeing yourself from distractions, you make room to focus on the purpose God has placed in your life. The power of detachment isn't about giving up, it's about choosing to grow. When you finally learn to let go of someone who isn't meant to stay in your life, you create a path for healing, peace, and deeper connection with God. Some people are sent to show you when it's time to walk away, and when you do, you open the door to transformation. It's natural to want to help those we love, especially when they're struggling. We often feel like we can fix their problems, heal their wounds, and make things better. But when it comes to narcissists, there's a dangerous trap that many people fall into, trying to be their savior. Here's the truth. God didn't call you to be their healer, only He can change them. Narcissists are skilled at playing on your empathy and desire to help others. They'll make you feel like they need you to fix their brokenness, to save them from their misery, and to carry their emotional burden. But the problem is, no matter how much love or care you give them, they will never be truly satisfied because their healing is beyond your control. The issue isn't your lack of effort, it's their unwillingness to change. By trying to fix them, you start neglecting your own needs and emotional health. You put your energy into someone who isn't ready to heal and who doesn't appreciate your efforts. In doing so, you end up drained, frustrated, and sometimes even manipulated into thinking that if you just love them enough, they'll change. But this mindset comes with a huge cost. The more you try to be their savior, the more you enable their dysfunction. Narcissists thrive on dependence, and by trying to fix them, you're feeding into that cycle. You may think you're helping, but you're only prolonging the inevitable, the realization that you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. This is a lesson that often needs to be learned the hard way. You are not their God. Only God has the power to heal, transform, and renew someone's heart. You can offer love and compassion, but trying to fix their deep-rooted issues isn't your responsibility. The real healing comes when the person chooses to take responsibility for their own life and healing, and that decision is out of your hands. Here's what happens when you stop playing savior. You stop enabling their behavior. You stop trying to fix them and begin focusing on what God has called you to do. You protect your peace. When you stop taking on their emotional burdens, you reclaim your energy and joy. You trust God's timing. You let go of the belief that you can control their transformation and leave it in God's hands. In the end, your role isn't to be their savior. It's to show compassion and then let go. God is the only one who can change hearts. You don't need to carry the weight of someone else's healing. When you release them into God's hands, you create space for your own growth and freedom. Love is supposed to lift us up, inspire us, and make us feel safe. But what happens when the very thing that is supposed to bring us joy starts to feel like a trap? When a relationship, masked as love, begins to drain your energy, confuse your emotions, and leave you questioning your worth, that's when love becomes manipulation. Narcissists are experts at turning love into a trap. They use charm, promises, and even moments of genuine affection to manipulate you into believing that their love is the only thing that matters. They know exactly how to play with your emotions, using guilt and fear as tools to keep you stuck in a toxic cycle. You might find yourself asking, why do I feel so guilty for wanting space? Why do I feel afraid to speak up or set boundaries? The truth is, narcissists thrive on creating a sense of guilt and fear in their victims. They make you feel like you're selfish for wanting time for yourself, or that you're ungrateful for their love. But what they're really doing is controlling you through your emotions, making you feel as if you can't live without their approval or attention. This is manipulation at its finest. But here's the harsh reality. Real love doesn't make you feel trapped. True love is freeing. It encourages growth, independence, and peace. If you're feeling guilty for standing up for yourself or afraid of leaving the relationship, then the love you're experiencing isn't the love God intended. It's manipulation disguised as affection. Recognizing manipulation can be tough, especially when you've been conditioned to believe that love always comes with sacrifice. But it's important to understand that love does not demand your self-worth or your peace in exchange for attention. The narcissist will make you question yourself, your boundaries, and your ability to make decisions, but their goal isn't love, it's control. Here's what happens when you start recognizing manipulation in your relationships. You regain clarity. You begin to see the relationship for what it truly is, not for the illusion the narcissist has created. You reclaim your emotional freedom. You stop feeling guilty or afraid of being yourself and setting boundaries. You choose peace over drama. Recognizing manipulation allows you to protect your peace so you can start healing and growing. Don't allow guilt or fear to keep you trapped in a toxic relationship. Love should empower you, not hold you captive. By recognizing manipulation, you take the first step toward breaking free, finding your worth, and experiencing the true love that God has planned for you. Imagine living your life constantly seeking validation from someone who doesn't even have your best interests at heart. This is what it feels like to be under the influence of a narcissist. They challenge your sense of self by controlling your perception of who you are, shaping your identity based on their approval or disapproval. They make you question your worth, leaving you constantly wondering, who am I without their approval? A narcissist will use your desire for love and acceptance as a weapon, feeding you just enough praise to keep you hooked, but withholding true affection and support. This creates a dangerous cycle where you start to rely on their opinions to define your self-worth. You begin to measure your value based on how they see you rather than how God sees you. But this isn't just a relationship issue, it's a spiritual test. Narcissists force you to confront one of the most important questions in your life. Are you defining yourself by their words or by what God says about you? God created you with a unique purpose, a divine calling, and an identity that is not shaped by the opinions of others. The narcissist might make you feel small, insignificant, or unworthy, but those lies are not who you are. You are a child of God, loved unconditionally and made in His image. When you base your identity on God's truth, you can stand firm in who you are, no matter what anyone else says. Here's what happens when you stop seeking approval from a narcissist and start defining yourself by God's word. You reclaim your confidence. You begin to understand that your worth doesn't come from their validation, but from your Creator. You build true self-worth. You stop feeling empty and inadequate because you know that your value is not tied to anyone else's opinion of you. You experience true freedom. When you stop seeking validation, you are free to live authentically with peace and confidence in your identity. The narcissist might try to distort who you are, but God's love for you is unshakable. He created you with purpose, and His opinion of you is the only one that truly matters. You don't need their approval to be who you are meant to be. When you start to define yourself by what God says about you, you will find a sense of strength and peace that no narcissist can take away. Sometimes life feels like a series of painful lessons. You might wonder why you're going through something so difficult, especially when it feels like everything is falling apart. But what if the pain you're experiencing is actually a gift? What if it's God's way of gently pushing you towards something better, something greater than you ever imagined? Narcissists often leave a trail of destruction in their wake, leaving you hurt, confused, and questioning your choices. You might feel stuck in a toxic situation, not knowing how to move forward, or even if it's worth it to try. The pain of dealing with them can be overwhelming, but here's the truth. Sometimes, pain is a tool of redirection. God might be using this pain to get your attention, not to punish you, but to show you a better path. You see, God's plan for your life is much bigger than the situation you're in right now. He might allow you to experience discomfort to open your eyes to a greater purpose. This season of struggle could be preparing you for a new direction, one that aligns more closely with His will for your life. Just like a GPS redirects you when you take a wrong turn, God might be using this pain to guide you back to the right path, one that leads to growth, peace, and fulfillment. In the moment, it can be hard to see the bigger picture. You might feel like everything is falling apart, but remember, God works all things together for good for those who love Him. Romans 8:28. The situation you're in might not make sense now, but in hindsight, you'll see how it was all part of the plan to bring you closer to your true purpose. God doesn't waste any experience, and even the most painful ones can be used for His glory and your growth. Here's what happens when you begin to see pain as redirection. You embrace change. You stop resisting the pain and start looking for the lessons and opportunities it's bringing into your life. You find peace in the process. You trust that God's timing is perfect and that He's guiding you towards something better. you grow in faith. Your trust in God deepens as you realize that His plan for you is far greater than anything you could have imagined. The next time you face pain, remember that it might not be a setback. It could be God's way of showing you a better path, a more fulfilling purpose that you never could have reached without the challenge. Trust that this pain is leading you to something greater. God is redirecting you to the life you were meant to live. There's a moment in every difficult relationship when you're forced to choose. Will you rise above, or will you allow yourself to sink into their chaos? Narcissists have a way of pushing you to the edge, showing you parts of yourself you might not want to see. Their behavior exposes your weaknesses, your triggers, and even your deepest fears. But here's the crucial question: what will you do with what they reveal about you? Narcissists thrive on chaos. They manipulate, gaslight, and create confusion, drawing you into their drama. It's easy to get caught up in their emotional roller coaster, constantly reacting, trying to please them, or seeking their approval. But the real challenge is whether you'll allow this pattern to continue, or if you'll choose to break free and rise above the turmoil. The way they treat you can expose areas in your life that need growth. Maybe you've been too dependent on external validation. Maybe you've allowed your peace to be stolen by their behavior. But instead of staying stuck in this destructive cycle, you have a choice. You can use this experience as an opportunity for growth. Choosing growth means recognizing your own strength and taking responsibility for your emotional well-being. It means refusing to let their behavior control your mood or dictate your actions. It means setting boundaries, letting go of toxic patterns, and deciding that you won't participate in their chaos any longer. Here's what happens when you choose growth over staying stuck in the cycle. You gain clarity. You stop reacting to their manipulation and start seeing the situation for what it truly is. You regain control. You stop letting them dictate your emotions and begin to take charge of your own happiness and peace. You evolve. You grow stronger, more resilient, and more in tune with who you are, independent of their influence. Narcissists expose parts of you that need healing and transformation. They show you where you've been weak, where you've allowed yourself to be manipulated. But it's up to you whether you rise above and use these revelations to grow, or whether you stay stuck in the cycle of chaos they create. Choosing growth isn't easy, but it's the path that leads to healing, peace, and empowerment. Will you choose to grow, or will you stay in the cycle? The choice is yours, and it's a call to strength that can transform your life forever. Forgiveness is often seen as a way to let someone else off the hook, but in reality, it's not about them at all. It's about freeing yourself. When dealing with a narcissist, the hurt they cause can feel overwhelming, leaving you angry, betrayed, and confused. It's natural to want justice or revenge, to make them feel what you feel. But the truth is, holding on to that anger only chains you to the past, blocking the path to your healing. Forgiveness is one of the hardest tests you'll face, especially when someone has hurt you deeply. Narcissists often manipulate and exploit your emotions, leaving you feeling invalidated and small. The idea of letting go of that hurt without seeking any form of retribution might seem impossible. How can you forgive someone who has shown you nothing but cruelty? How can you release the pain they caused you without seeking revenge or closure from them? But forgiveness isn't about what the narcissist deserves. It's about what you need to move forward. When you choose to forgive, you're taking back your power. You're no longer allowing their actions to control your thoughts and emotions. You're no longer allowing them to hold a place in your heart, poisoning your peace. True healing comes when you let go of the anger, the bitterness, and the desire for revenge. Here's what happens when you embrace forgiveness, you take back control. You stop letting their actions define your happiness and peace of mind. You find freedom. Forgiveness releases the grip that hurt and resentment have on you, giving you the space to heal and grow. You experience emotional healing. Releasing the desire for revenge allows you to focus on your own well-being and move toward healthier emotional patterns. Forgiveness doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you're excusing their behavior. It simply means you're no longer willing to let their actions have power over you. It means you're choosing to heal, not for them, but for yourself. True healing comes when you decide that you will not let the past dictate your future. You are worthy of peace, and you deserve to release the hurt in order to make room for the love, joy, and healing that God has for you. It's natural to want control over the situations in our lives. We want to shape the outcome of our struggles, make decisions that we believe are best for us, and ensure things go our way. We often think that if we control the process, we can avoid pain or achieve the results we desire. But what if God has a better plan for us? What if our need for control is actually standing in the way of something greater He has in store? When you're dealing with a narcissist, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to control the outcome of the relationship. You may find yourself constantly trying to manage their behavior, hoping that somehow you can change them or make them see things your way. But here's the catch. Trying to control the outcome only leaves you frustrated, powerless, and stuck. No matter how hard you try to steer the situation, you can't change another person's behavior. This is where God's way comes into play. God's way is not about us forcing the outcome we want. It's about surrendering to His plan and trusting that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand it. In moments of struggle, particularly when we're dealing with toxic people, it can be difficult to release control. It feels safer to hold on tightly, to try and direct the course of events, to demand that things turn out the way we think they should. But true peace and healing come when we let go and trust God's guidance. Here's why it's so important to let go of our own control and surrender to God's plan. God sees the bigger picture. While we may be focused on a specific outcome, God sees the bigger picture. He knows the end result even when we can't. You might be in a situation where it seems like nothing is improving, or where you feel completely stuck. But God is using this season to shape you and prepare you for something greater. When you try to control the outcome, you limit the possibility for growth and transformation. God knows how your situation will end, and He's already working on the solution, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Letting go leads to freedom. The act of surrendering to God's plan is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes courage to trust God's timing and surrender your desires into His hands. When you release the urge to control, you free yourself from the burden of stress, anxiety, and frustration. You stop holding on to things that were never meant to be yours to control. You begin to feel lighter, more at peace, and more aligned with God's will for your life. Control doesn't bring peace, trust does. Trying to control a narcissist's behavior or dictate the outcome of a relationship will never bring peace. No matter how much energy you put into it, the results may not be what you want, but when you trust God's plan and surrender your will, you experience a peace that surpasses understanding. It's not about everything going perfectly according to your plan. It's about knowing that God is in control and He is leading you through the challenges. Trusting God gives you the peace to navigate any storm, even when things don't look the way you expect. God's timing is perfect. One of the hardest parts of surrendering is trusting that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match up with our own timeline. We often want things to happen on our schedule. We want the pain to end immediately, we want the narcissist to change, or we want to see the resolution right away. But God works in His own time. His plan unfolds when we are ready to receive it. Trusting in His timing means letting go of the need to rush and allowing Him to guide you at the right pace. When life gets tough, it's easy to feel like the world is falling apart. The challenges seem endless and the weight of suffering feels like too much to bear, especially when you're dealing with difficult people such as narcissists who trigger your deepest pain. It can feel like you're caught in a never-ending storm. You may even wonder, why is this happening to me? Is this punishment, or is there a purpose behind the pain? What if, instead of seeing your suffering as a curse, it's actually the final test before the breakthrough you've been waiting for? What if the storm you're enduring right now is the last challenge before God blesses you in ways you couldn't have imagined? It's easy to forget that growth often happens in the most difficult seasons, and God uses our pain as a way to refine us, prepare us, and ultimately bless us. Here's why the reward comes after the storm. The storm prepares you for greater blessings. When you face adversity, whether it's in relationships, work, or personal struggles, God is often refining your character. He knows that you can't receive the full blessing until you're ready for it. Just like a diamond goes through intense pressure to become brilliant, God allows hardship to mold you into a person capable of receiving His greater blessings. The storm forces you to develop strength, patience, resilience, and trust in Him. Without the storm, you might not be able to handle the magnitude of the blessings He has for you. Faith grows stronger in the storm. It's easy to have faith when things are going well, but faith is truly tested during times of difficulty. In the midst of your suffering, God is testing your faith, asking if you will trust Him even when you can't see the end of the storm. If you choose to hold on to your faith, trusting that He's working behind the scenes, your faith will grow stronger. And with a stronger faith, you become better equipped to handle the blessings and responsibilities that will come with your breakthrough. The pain brings purpose. Sometimes, suffering doesn't make sense. We may wonder why we have to endure pain, particularly when it feels like it's caused by someone else's cruelty or manipulation. But God never wastes our pain. Every moment of hardship, every tear, and every struggle is building your story and preparing you for something bigger. God allows us to go through storms because He knows the greater purpose waiting on the other side. That purpose may be a deeper connection with Him, a greater understanding of yourself, or an opportunity to help others who are walking through similar challenges. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a cycle, one that feels toxic, draining, and endless? You know it's not healthy for you, yet somehow you keep going back to it. Whether it's a difficult relationship, a job that drains your spirit, or a pattern of self-doubt and fear, it's easy to feel trapped, like there's no way out. But here's the hard truth. The choice is yours. Will you continue to stay stuck, or will you trust God and take that first step toward freedom? We all go through seasons where we feel like we're just going through the motions, trying to survive instead of thrive. It might seem easier to stay in the toxic cycle because it's familiar. The narcissist in your life, the unhealthy habits, the fear of change, it all feels like a constant force that you can't escape. But this is not the life God wants for you. He has something better for you, something more fulfilling, something filled with peace, joy, and purpose. The question is, are you willing to step out and take hold of the freedom He offers? The toxic cycle comfort in discomfort. Staying in the cycle, no matter how toxic, can feel comfortable because it's predictable. It's what you know, even if it's hurting you. The fear of the unknown often holds us back from making the necessary changes in our lives. When you're facing a narcissist, for example, they might manipulate or gaslight you, making you doubt yourself and question your worth. But every moment you stay in this cycle, you're allowing them to control your life. The longer you remain stuck, the harder it becomes to break free, but it's not impossible. Breaking free. Trusting God's plan. The first step to moving forward is trusting God's plan for your life. It's not easy, and it's certainly not comfortable. God will never force you to leave the cycle, but He will always be there, guiding you and giving you the strength you need to break free. You may have to make some hard decisions, cutting off toxic people, saying no to things that drain your energy, or walking away from situations that hinder your growth. But the moment you make the decision to trust God and move forward, you will start to see the chains break. Freedom is a choice. The freedom that God has for you is not just a wish or a dream. It's a reality that can only be realized when you make the choice to step into it. You can't stay stuck and expect your life to change. Freedom requires action, and the action is in your hands. Will you choose to break free from the toxic cycle, or will you keep repeating the same patterns? Stepping into your purpose. When you choose to move forward, you're choosing to align yourself with God's purpose for your life. The toxic relationships, the fear, the guilt, all of these things will fade away as you step into the abundant life that God has in store for you.